Am I the asshole for shutting down my best friend when she said our kids would be friends one day? I, 29M, biracial, have been friends with Daphne, 25F, white, for about 3 years. She came to my town for school, joined my friend group, and we got close. I admitted pretty early on that I had feelings for her, but I also told her I wasn't in a place to pursue anything. Things got messy since she was on the fence and our friend group was toxic about it. During Christmas break she reconnected with a childhood friend, Fred, 26M, white. When she came back she told me they were talking long distance, and eventually they started dating. I tried to be respectful and even told Fred up front about my past feelings. When I met him, I thought he was cool. He and Daphne are really similar, while she and I are total opposites. Honestly, I was happy for them. Fast forward 2 years. Daphne moved home, I moved around, and she and Fred got married. Around the same time I met my now wife, Sally, 26F, white. She's amazing, smart, kind, creative, everything I could ever want. On a cross-country trip, Sally and I stopped to grab food with Daphne and Fred. Only Daphne showed up, saying Fred was sick. We had a nice time and Sally liked her. Later, I logged back into my old Snapchat for the first time in years and saw a request from Fred. I accepted, thinking he probably didn't even use it. But when I clicked on his story, I was shocked. It was filled with neo-Nazi propaganda. Hitler speeches, articles about Jews and immigrants, ruining the world, AI videos of a perfect society made up of only blonde, blue-eyed people. Exactly how Fred looks. I'm biracial, light-skinned, curly-haired, and I literally burst out laughing in disbelief at how surreal it was. I texted Daphne thinking maybe his account was hacked. Nope. She admitted he really posts that stuff and defended him, saying it's just to start conversation, that it's not as bad as it looks, and that when he explains it to her, it's different. I was floored. After that our contact faded. Recently, Sally and I got married, we eloped, it was the best day ever. When I told Daphne, she said she couldn't wait for our kids to be friends someday. Without thinking, I said, "Oh, I don't think Fred would let that happen. Even if he did, I don't think I'd want my kids around him." She just laughed it off, but she still defends him. We live 2,000 miles apart, so it doesn't really affect my daily life, but I'm still shocked this is even real. So, am I the asshole for saying what I did about not wanting my kids around Fred? Not the asshole, and why are you still friends with Daphne? The fact she is married to some right-wing nut job says a lot about her character. Unacceptable. Not the asshole, and you do realize Fred is fully aware you know what he thinks, right? Why else would he send you a friend request with all of that information there? It's because he wanted to make it clear to you what sick actually meant. I don't know how you can be friends with someone who consistently excuses this behavior, and honestly, why WBTAH if you don't shut it down? You do realize that you're the black friend she probably uses to try to excuse herself with when questioned on anything racist she may say, don't you? Not the asshole, but I drop contact. Not the asshole, but I have to point out a funny thing. You missed the perfect opportunity to call your wife Velma since you used Fred and Daphne. But definitely not the asshole. Not the asshole, but Daphne is making excuses for her husband, and if you keep talking to her then you're making excuses for her. Cut contact. You shouldn't have anyone with those types of beliefs, of defending those types of beliefs, in your or your family's lives. Not the asshole. A woman who defends a racist is a racist. Am I the asshole wife's cousin wants to judge if I am right for her? I react negatively. Background. I, John, 36M, have been married for 9 years to Sue, 34F. We each have a kids from before the marriage, both in high school now. She wants to visit a cousin in California, 39M, for about a week and I support her. Even though it's not a fun vacation trip, I always support her when she wants to visit family. This cousin, call him Roman, she sees every 3 or 4 years, although I haven't met him as she often sees him on work trips to San Fran and LA and he misses family reunions for his own work. So about a month before the trip, she shares a fun message from her cousin Roman, who says, I am sorry I haven't met John before now, I really need to meet him to make sure he is good enough for my special little cousin Sue. I'll be watching him closely on the trip. See if he is the right man for you and earns my blessing. So, having been married for 9 years, I don't immediately think much of it. It's a weird message, a bit creepy considering we are already married and I am not a new boyfriend, but what's the harm? It's a bit extra weird given they aren't close enough that this man has ever visited. I laugh and tell Sue it's just a bit strange take on a 9-year marriage. At this point, all I am looking for is her confirmation she understands that her cousin doesn't decide her partner. And it's a bit creepy to try to judge your cousin's spouse after a decade of marriage. Or perhaps it's all a non-funny joke, which we are all guilty of from time to time. Instead she defends her cousin, saying it's normal for him to act like a big brother and it's perfectly appropriate for him to genuinely judge her partner. I try again to explain, ask her how she would feel if my mom or sisters said on our trip to visit that they were going to be judging her for suitability as my partner, to give their blessing. How would that make her feel? How would she enjoy that trip? Again, she says it's no big deal and I am overreacting and I need to get over it. She further digs in by saying I need to work to impress her cousin. This feels insane to me. At this point, her failure to recognize how weird it is at this stage in our relationship is getting to be as weird or weirder than the initial message. In our last communication, I told her I wasn't going with her and we needed to have a serious talk about our relationship. For clarity, I get that male relatives might joke about checking out their relative's partner, but at this point it's more about her taking it seriously as if she is evaluating me. It makes me think she is considering whether this is a good match and has a foot out the door. We have talked extensively about this and she is fully on board with the idea he is actually judging me and she hopes I impress him. Would I be the asshole if I stick to not going? Am I overreacting by reassessing our relationship? YWNBTHE asshole, this is weird as hell. Special little cousin, made me gag. If this cousin is so protective, where has he been for the past 9 years? Hate to say it but sounds like your wife could be looking for an out. You definitely need a serious talk with her. Okay wifey, what if he tells you I'm not the right man for you, and he does not give his blessing, what then? Where the fuck does that leave us? Or we cut out the middleman and just file for divorce right now. I don't think that's her cousin bro. Just based on what you said, visits every 3-4 years only on business trips, never makes it to family events. I think that's her cousin. Shit is weird. Not the asshole. It's weird. Everyone here thinks it's weird. Show your wife this post and tell her she has a weird family. Info. Are wife and cousin from Alabama? 0 chance you should go. Less than 0 chance that you should go and try to impress him. Am I the asshole for asking my friends and family not to gift us baby blankets, quilts? I, 23F, am pregnant with my first child. I grew up in a culture where everyone learns and loves to quilt. I'm a big fan of the hobby myself and I have a few quilts I've made for myself as well as some baby blankets for future children. Due to the culture my husband and I grew up in, we have so many blankets, quilts, 60 plus, at our house, most of them not getting used. However, I have a hard time getting rid of them because they were made by myself or someone close to us. When I announced my pregnancy, I got a lot of excitement from both sides of the family. On my side it's the first grandbaby. For my husband's, it's the 5th. Immediately after announcing we were flooded by many family members talking about making baby blankets for our baby. So far, we have 15 friends, family that I know of who are wanting to make blankets, quilts for our baby. Though I'm grateful they want to put in the work to make it, I feel like we're going to have way too many blankets for us to use and appreciate. I fear that if we receive all of these blankets and we don't use it, friends and family members are going to get upset with us. Besides, we once again have so many blankets we really don't need more. Last week, I gently told my husband's parents that we're gonna ask everyone to not gift us a baby blanket because we have too many blankets and because we have a lot of people who are wanting to gift us blankets. My mother-in-law got very upset and called me ungrateful, said I was breaking tradition, since she's made blankets for all her grandbabies. When I told my mom the same thing, she also got as equally upset. It's not that we don't appreciate the love and effort people go to make blankets, but we know we can't use and appreciate 15 plus baby blankets. We'd rather people make other things besides blankets so that us and baby have different things we could appreciate and love as well. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Ask your family members to each make 1 square to contribute to a family quilt, and choose 1 or 2 close family members to piece the squares and quilt the sandwich together. Can you ask them to do 1 quilt together where they each do 1 square? Let them make them. Take a picture with the baby. After a bid, donate to a woman's organization, hospitals for new babies, etc. I received a blanket from the hospital when my son was born. Sewn with dinosaurs. I loved it and still have it. I don't have relatives, so it was nice it was handmade. I'm thankful to the lady who donated it. Could everyone donate a square? Then it's a patchwork of all the people that have so much love for this baby in 1 blanket. Request other quilted items. Baby bibs, a birthday sign, holiday placemats, etc. They can still make something, just not a blanket. As a person who makes them, allow grandmas to make their grandkids their quilts. Each kid will have 2. Tell the rest of the family not to make them or they will be donated to a pregnancy resource center. Not the asshole for now wanting hundreds more blankets, but a soft you are the asshole for not letting grandparents make them. I grew up in a house with dozens of family-made quilts, but I still have the ones my grandmas made for me, because they were mine, made especially for me by 2 of the most precious people to me. Am I the asshole for wanting support during a sad moment instead of getting food? I, 30M, am feeling a bit unsupported by my wife, 30F, but maybe it's my fault. Earlier in the month, there was a mass found in my stepfather's body, and today was the appointment at which the doctor would explain what it is and the prognosis. Everyone in our family has been dreading today, because we were going to find out just how serious this was and how we should feel about the whole situation. We've been sick all day waiting on the news. Everyone is fearing the worst considering how rapidly he seems to be deteriorating. Me and my wife meet at a park after work with our toddler to try to get the impending diagnosis out of our minds. As we are about to leave, my mom finally calls with the news and it's bad. It's spread to other parts of his body and chemo surgery likely won't have any effect. My mom is absolutely devastated and asks me to give the news to my sister since she is so overwhelmed and doesn't think she can handle saying it again. My wife is next to me and has heard everything. She says that she needs to go to the bathroom, so I take the chance to call my sister, but she doesn't pick up. Fast forward a few minutes to when I am about to put our toddler in the car seat to go home, and my sister calls back. I ask my wife to watch our toddler for a few minutes while I tell her the news, but she gets angry. I feel awkward letting my sister hear my wife be angry, so I tell her that I'll call her right back and hang up to try to figure out what I did wrong. Then, my wife starts berating me about having my priorities straight and that we should be looking for food to eat, not giving out news. She says, the news isn't gonna change so why can't it just wait, in a very sarcastic tone. I'm honestly taken aback because I can't understand why she isn't being supportive at this time. I mean, I get that she might be hungry, but surely it isn't that important in that moment, right? I tell her that I'm disappointed and hurt about her reaction to me wanting to talk to my sister at that moment, and she responds by saying she's not going to talk to me for a while. She continues holding a grudge over that spiff the entire rest of the day, to the point that even though she saw me openly sobbing while trying to do house chores, she acted as if I wasn't there. I feel so sad about the whole situation and I feel like I'm just not getting any sympathy from her, but IDK. Maybe I have a blind spot that I'm not noticing and I'm actually the aw? Am I the asshole for wanting to give the news to my sister as soon as possible, even if that means postponing or leaving the park for a few minutes? A few edits for clearer context. I realized after thinking about it overnight, that I may have left out some degree of context that would explain her behavior. 1. The food wasn't just for us, it was for my mom and brother as well, but they wouldn't be arriving for a few hours. 2. It was our toddler's dinner time, though he wasn't being difficult and honestly was an angel throughout the whole ordeal. 3. She had a difficult day at work. I actually had to meet her a bit earlier in the day to change her tire for her due to a flat. 4. Before we got the news, we were arguing about how to deal with getting the new tire. I had offered to take her car to the shop and let her use mine, but she was upset at the thought of having to use my car for work. It's a pickup truck. Wow. Location flag, location flag, location flag. Unless there's some earth-shaking context missing, you're definitely not the asshole. Edit to add that I'm sorry you're having to deal with all this on top of the awful news you received. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry about the news. Honest question, what good qualities does your wife have? Is this someone you want to spend the rest of your life with? It's not too late to start over and to find happiness and a loving, supportive relationship with someone else. What the actual hell? Your wife is stone cold. I'm so sorry about the news you got today and hope you'll find support within the rest of your family. Not the asshole in any way, but your wife is 100%. And I'm sorry to hear about your stepfather. Start carrying Snickers and energy bars for your hangry wife. The only way that this would have been acceptable is if you or toddler were in a diabetic emergency and needed food now. That's it. She's full score the asshole in this. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I am so sorry about your dad. I am also so sorry that your wife is being so actively uncaring and unsupportive. You deserve better.